YB stays on your neck.
It's on my neck.
Yo, my stans, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So for you, those man who are hot on the buttons, you'll know I put a video out going into detail on this whole rumour that Anthony Joshua got concussed in sparring. Now, we've all been speculating what's been going on between Eddie Hearn and AJ's dad and whatnot. We've all been speculating on the cryptic words of Derek Chisora, the cryptic words of Adam Booth. And this kind of fits this concussion perfectly fits what I was looking for personally. From all the information I've got, initially I thought maybe Joshua was set up for a rematch, but ignoring all that, even Joshua's response talking about, oh, this will be good for the networks. That shows a man who is not thinking straight here, living in the clouds, airy fairy, aka concussion. Anyway, after all that speculation, the rumours about concussion. Joey Dawakejo, allegedly concussed and hurt or KO, TKO Joshua in sparring. Eddie Hearn has now responded to them claims. This is what Eddie Hearn had to say, and I got to listen. Bottom line is, man, in my opinion, anyway, the very bottom line is. Anyway, in fact, scrap that. Let me get to what he had to say. Eddie Hearn said in response to claims of concussion, absolutely, there is no truth that he was badly hurt in sparring. There were no health concerns going into the fight. The biggest concern was a sty on his eye. He's putting on a brave face after the defeat, but he's already starting to think about getting revenge. The rematch is a huge fight, and there's a lot of pressure on AJ to win. Now that was in response to obviously the concussion rumours. And I said in my video put out first today, I said, listen, Eddie Hearn's denied it. Anthony Joshua best not deny this. If it happened, he best be honest. He best not lie to us fans. He owes it. The least he owes to us is the truth. Now maybe it is the truth. Maybe he hasn't been concussed. And if that's the case, AJ's chinless now. With us AJ fans, have got to deal with that reality. If he was not concussed, AJ is chinless and cardioless. Fact. And that's why I'm pleading with Joshua to be honest and not lie to us, man. This doesn't take away from anything about being humble. Oh, he's trying to take away from Andy Ruiz's win. No. You're telling the damn truth. Bottom line. I'm telling you now, from what I see, there's a 0% chance that he wasn't concussed in that ring then. I've never heard of... Why is it we've never heard Anthony Joshua saying things like, Robert in the corner, Robert McCracken, what's he going to do next? What's Andy Ruiz going to do next? Oh, what shot did I get hit with? All these sort of things. Oh, why am I feeling like this for? Why has he never said that before? He's been put down before. When he got put down, he knew exactly why he got put down. He was tired and he got caught. That was it. None of this confusion. This whole confusion business works into concussion perfectly. He was the reason in many of my titles I put in there, Anthony Joshua gets bamboozled. That's how it looked. It looked like he was having an out-of-body experience. Not one part of that whole night made any sense to me. The aftermath, he's all smiling and happy and just looking like he's high. And that's what concussion does. It's almost like you've been smoking weed. It's like you've been smoking a zoot. You're just in the clouds. And that's how Joshua was acting. He comes out airy-fairy on his toes, backstepping and craziness. Nothing made any sense. Right from the bump. But I've got to say this before I carry on. Eddie Hearn's obviously denied it, as we've already said. And I think possibly a reason why he's done that, if Joshua has been seriously hurt in sparring, Eddie Hearn, legally speaking, I think he has to make out he doesn't know. I don't believe Eddie Hearn can come along and say, oh yeah, I knew he was hurt in sparring, but put him in there anyway. I think he has a duty to his client, or not even that. Maybe there'll be legal ramifications. Maybe New York Athletic Commission, we know they're very strict with fighter health. Maybe they would say, listen, Eddie Hearn can't come out now and say, oh yeah, I knew he got hurt in sparring. I knew he was concussed in sparring. I think there maybe, well, it makes sense. You can't, because basically, Anthony Joshua would have had a medical. And in the medicals, I've said before, you cannot prove concussion. There's no direct test or scan you can have for concussion. It's based on symptoms, and even then it's loosely. There's no proof of it. There's no blood test. There's no nothing. It goes based on a broad range of symptoms, which is here nor there, if that makes sense. There's no, like, clear bang, he's got concussion. So, as I said the other day, Max Holloway was alleged to have concussion, and the Athletic Commission passed him through, but then his team pulled him out. So the reason I say that is, after the event now, Eddie Hearn can't, I don't believe legally, Eddie Hearn can't come out and say, oh yeah, by the way, you caught us, he did get hurt. He can't come out and admit that. He can't come out and admit that he potentially forced or knew that his injured fighter was not even just injured. Going in there with an elbow injury is one thing. Going in there with a concussion is a whole nother kettle of fish. So from that respect, we have to bear in mind what these people are talking about. The only person that can really come out and admit it is Joshua. Joshua's trainers certainly can't do that. Joshua's managers even more can't do that. Joshua's trainer can't come out and say, oh yeah, I knew he was concussed, but I put him in there anyway. And that kind of moves me on to my next point. If Eddie Hearn did know this, and I'm going to do a video, a kind of update video, talking about the Eddie Hearn and his father's little beef or quarrel. If Eddie Hearn did know this and enforced it, it is a gross failure. It's not. I'd say it's an abuse even, because we know about fighters. Fighters will fight no matter what, and that's why I rate Max Holloway's team, because Max Holloway is begging to fight. Max Holloway had been cleared by the doctors. He wanted to fight. He didn't want to let the fans down, and his team stepped in and said, no, it's not happening. So really, we have to look around at Joshua's team. Robert McCracken, I think more than Eddie Hearn, Robert McCracken is ultimately responsible. That's your fighter. Eddie Hearn's a promoter. He's not in the gym every day. He's not sitting there. He's not seeing. Eddie Hearn wouldn't have seen, unless he was randomly in the gym, but Eddie Hearn wouldn't have seen AJ get knocked out or whatever, or get hit and get concussed. Eddie Hearn might not even have known, because we know Joshua is very private. And I mean, this is unlikely, but it's unlikely Eddie Hearn wouldn't have known. But it could have been a possibility that AJ gets put down in sparring. Why would AJ tell Eddie Hearn for? He wouldn't want to worry him, if in that sense. But bottom line is, one person we do know who would have been there is Rob McCracken. And you've got to ask yourself now, if he was concussed, a good trainer who really cares about their fighter and who isn't licky about the money, this is what I'd do. If one of my fighters got concussed and wasn't right and stuff wasn't adding up, I'd say, listen, boss, Joshua, if you want to do this fight, I will not be in your corner. You are not fit to go in there. If you want to drag in some random coach, I'm not going to be part of this. It's your choice. Either this fight, even if Eddie wanted to fight on, I'd say, listen, I'm not putting my dude in there. If you want to drag out some 2-bit trainer to come and fill in for the night, that's your business. I'm not stepping in. It's like Chuck Liddell's old coach. Chuck Liddell had a coach for years. And anyway, Chuck Liddell's chin, he got old, he got hit too many times, and his chin kind of faded, and he used to have a rock solid chin. But he kept getting touched, and eventually his coach said, listen, you're finished in that sense. I'm not going to get in there and see you anymore in this ring. I'm not going to train you. And anyway, there was a big money fight between Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell, and his old trainer said, listen, I'm not training you. You can get another 2-bit coach who wants the money. I'm not interested. I care about you. And I believe the amount of money, Eddie Hearn's changed Rob McCracken's life in that sense. He owes it to AJ to say, you know what? This isn't worth MSG or not. You can postpone the fight or just cancel it. Yeah, we're going to lose a few millions, but look how much we've made. Even if you lose 5 million for the event, Eddie Hearn and AJ, they're up hundreds of millions, and you can make it back on the next one. Now look what's happened. You've lost the belts and everything. And when you add all the factors in, look at how mad AJ's dad was. And AJ's dad's, like AJ, very respectful. I don't believe he'd be going at him just because they lost and everything was equal. But that's for another video. So yeah, legally speaking, Eddie Hearn and Rob McCracken, they're in a bit of a hole now. They can't come out and say, "Oh yeah, he did get caught." They've got to make out they don't know anything about it, even if they did. So it's now. But then again, having said that, that's quite an interesting point. I've made in the start of this video, I said I want Anthony Joshua to come out and tell us the truth, but I'm not sure he can now. I'm not sure AJ can come out now and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I did get hurt in training," because if he does, there's people that we know how strict the New York Athletic Commission is. They might come out and start asking questions, saying, "Well, bottom line is, if you got concussed, if you got put down in sparring, are you telling me Rob McCracken didn't see that? Why weren't we notified?" And it's standard. You don't even have to. Concussions is like an extreme concussion. Every time you get hit in the head, you won't be concussed. Every time you get knocked out, you won't be concussed. Every time you get TKO'd, you won't be concussed. But we know, no matter what, if you get TKO'd, you are out for 30 days. You cannot box. Joshua allegedly got hurt 8 days ago. And that's the 30 days is the minimum. For concussions, you're looking at 60 to 90 days. They can ban you for up to 90 days. So if this was a mild concussion, you're looking at a 60-day suspension. AJ was fighting after 8 days, and his trainer was happy for him to go in there. And this is the reason you have a team. It's not, people were saying, this is the other thing. Who was it? Hatman. I'm going to expose him on a video. So Hatman came out and said, or someone came out. No, wait, Hatman came out and said, oh yeah, how do you know Andy Ruiz didn't have a bad camp as well? This isn't about bad camp. This is the problem when you have uneducated people making videos. Yeah? This isn't about, having a bad camp. Concussion is a severe thing. It's no joke. It's no joke at all. Having a bad camp, having a bad elbow, having a bad knee is not concussion. The it controls everything. Subconsciously and consciously. Yeah? The central nervous system, 2 types of it. Which control the conscious and the subconscious parts. The parts you do control and the parts you don't control that go on, like your breathing and your reactions and whatnot. You can't. This isn't a case of everyone can have a bad camp. And that's the reason you're supposed to have a team. And I'm not sure who it was. There was another goon saying, ultimately the decision comes down to Joshua. He's the one in charge. No, that's why you have a team, you muppet. We know fighters will get in there no matter what. We know fighters will get in there no matter what. That's why you have a team. I want to know where all these fake ass people are. Eddie Hearn, I'm not sure Eddie Hearn knew. But I'm saying if he knew, that's a fake ass dude you got there. All these managers. The manager AJ has. Some Freddie random dude he brought in. He pretty much made their company. What were they doing? But most importantly, Eddie Hearn and Freddie, or whatever his name is, they can plead ignorance. Rob McCracken can't. What have you been doing? Why have you allowed this to happen for? You should have put your foot down and said, no, I don't care about the money. I don't care about MSG. I care about my dude getting in there at his best. And let's not be funny. And that's why I rate the UFC in that sense, because Dana White don't business. He gets annoyed when people pull out, but they pull out. Many times. The UFC has loads of pullouts. Every event has a pullout. Every event, the main event's pulling out somewhere. And look at Joshua. Look at Joshua's career. Has he ever pulled out? No. He's earned a credit. Especially when he's concussed. This isn't, for me, if your elbow's hurt, if your knee's hurt, if you want to push through, you push through. Not with a brain. We don't play with concussions, man. Concussions, the brain isn't a joke. It would have been all fun and games now. For all you know, he could be laying there dead. Getting hit 5 more times. You don't know that. He could be laying there dead now. And everyone's sitting there saying, oh, whoops, the money. Now all the money's all gone. And now look what you've done. He's lost now. And in that video with his dad going at Eddie Hearn looked sheepish. But anyway, that's for another video. Let me know what you guys think. Oh yeah, and just before I go, there's another quote from Eddie Hearn talking about, not only was there rumours about Joshua being concussed, there's also been rumours about Anthony Joshua having a panic attack before he came out. Now, we do know there was a 5-10 minute delay before Anthony Joshua came out, and they said it was about the groin guard. But once again, when you think about Derek Chisora, Adam Booth, all these people saying things and whatnot, could it have been a panic attack? Now, normally I'd say, nah, it wasn't a panic attack. But what do we know? With concussions and panic attacks, it all comes into one. It's all one big circle. When you have a concussion, you are predisposed, or you have a higher propensity to have panic attacks and whatnot. Especially when AJ's sitting there in airy fairyland, and he suddenly clocked he's got to go in there and have a fight. We don't know. I've never had a serious concussion before, but if it was serious, if he did have a concussion, this is a factor that I can kind of buy into now. Eddie Hearn responds to the panic attack rumours and says, Matchroom promoter said, panic attack? I've heard all sorts of rumours. There was no issue at all going into the fight. So that's what he says. But as I've been talking about this whole video, he has to deny that stuff. He can't come out and admit anything. I'd love to see some proof on this though. I would love for some insiders to come out and we get some, like, I'd love TMZ or The Sun to pay one of AJ's insiders and break this story, because I don't think, legally speaking, I don't think no one from Joshua's team or even Joshua himself can come out now and be honest, because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be having the fingers legally pointed at them. There's going to be issues from the New York State Athletic Commission for allowing serious failures to protect your client, to protect your fighter. Seriously, if someone was dead now, it wouldn't be a joke. There'd be a manslaughter inquiry going on, and rightly so.